to everyone. Um, we know that last year, 2020, was a very hectic year for a lot of us. We went through good times, bad times, terrible times, crazy times, anxious times, depressed times. And so today we're going to be talking about some stress tips and inspiration.
Okay, let's do it. Happy New Year,
Yes.
everybody, and
Yes.
welcome.
And we're going to hope that 2021 is going to far surpass all that we endured last year.
Yes, by the grace of God, it should
Yes,
be. Yes.
absolutely.
I think we're getting into that start of building our 2021. So I think perfect time for an episode just like this. So the way this
Mhm.
episode is going to work, folks, is we have some cards here with us today. I'm going to read the card. Maria and Jen are going to give you some of their perspectives on wellness and inspiration.
Okay,
So
let's
the
do
first,
it.
the
Bring
first
it on.
Awesome. So the first one actually starts with a quote, and that is strive for progress, not perfection. What does that quote mean to you in your journeys with stroke recovery?
Okay. To me, I tend to be a very driven, very hard on myself person, and I think it's because of how I was raised. I was raised with a lot of expectation. So I had great expectations of myself because of that. Now, I think that if we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, we tend to we tend to not understand how it's affecting our bodies, and
Yeah,
we have to be very careful that as we try to succeed in life, that we keep a balance of health, a balance of spirituality, a balance of meditation, and keeping our wellness as a top priority.
well, I think you're absolutely right, Maria. And one of the things I think with stroke survivors specifically is because it's brain damage, it takes a really, really long process. And
Yes.
because as survivors or people with brain damage, um, we are brain infractions. We don't understand the concept of process because we compare ourselves to someone that's broken a leg, that's fractured an arm, and we can't do that because the brain is a process of recovery. And so striving for the process as opposed to perfection, to me, what that means is, as you said, Maria, being patient with yourself, really looking at the increments of gains that you have, and capitalizing on that. For example, you know in the first year of my stroke, I couldn't walk up the steps. I had to walk up one step, put 2 feet together, one step, 2 feet together. But
Mhm.
a year later, I was able to put one foot in front of the other and walk up a steps. And so for me, I needed to not only be patient with myself, but I needed to understand that the process of recovery is very, very different to people with brain damage.
And
Very
this
different.
is not a sprint by any means. This
No,
is a marathon.
this,
And
yeah,
it's the longest marathon of your life.
exactly. You're,
And we cannot have expectations. When I read a lot of questions on the support groups that I'm involved with, there are people who think that they're asking a question and they think that everybody else is going to have the same response to it as they do.
yeah,
But every response of every stroke is different because every stroke is different.
absolutely, absolutely.
And so we cannot compare ourselves to other survivors. And that's not just with stroke, that's with anything.
Yeah,
You know, everybody, it depends on, there are many factors that are determined by your recovery from everything. There are people who, like, I have a girlfriend whose son passed away, and he passed away many years ago, and she has been suffering ever since. And people keep, kind of making a note like, you're still on this kind of thing, like, but there's no timeline. And that's just like with illness. When you're recovering, There's no timeline. It's
Mhm.
just doing the best you can every day and continuing to keep pushing yourself and gently pushing yourself, not pushing yourself to a point where you're driving yourself crazy and or you're unable to sleep or unable to relax. We have to be able to relax and take our time with things.
Yeah, and
So
you have to be
so
safe. Whatever it is you're doing for your recovery and your rehabilitation, it has to be safe. Always, always, always. If it's not
yes.
safe, don't do it. You know? And so it might be safe today, and tomorrow it might be unsafe, meaning therefore today you're full of energy and you can walk for 30 minutes on the treadmill. Or you might be able to do that, that affected arm. You might be able to do five, arm curls today. Tomorrow, you're not going to be able to do five. You're going to be able to do three. It doesn't mean you're getting worse. It just means that you have to be safe first. But
Mhm.
so those have been things that I've lived by, and that's what that means to me.
Yeah, I think that is a great answer to that particular quote and really defines meaning in kind of the recovery world for everyone who might be recovering from an illness or overcoming a disability or a challenge.
Yeah,
Uh,
and the one thing that I want people to understand as well is there is a lot of emotional. When you've gone from being an able-bodied person to a person with physical challenges, there is an extreme amount of emotion involved. So there's a lot of mental stress, a lot of emotional stress. So you have to kind of learn to keep your stress levels down and remember that you're not the same person you were yesterday, but you are still here.
and I think that leads us right into the next question I was going to ask, which are what are some of your tips for a relaxing sleep?
Sorry, say that again, Alicia.
Yeah. What are some of your tips for a relaxing sleep?
Ah, yeah.
Well,
That
I have a diffuser beside my bed on my nightstand, and I put uh, uh, an oil in it called Breathe Easy that I probably got from Sage, and I try not to think about too much in my sleep. I actually recently started dreaming again. I didn't dream for probably 4 years. And I
nice.
just noticed that recently I started dreaming again
Uh,
because I had not been dreaming. So I
that's a good
probably
sign.
was not getting that REM sleep, that
Yeah,
deep sleep,
yeah,
because I
yeah,
always had something on my mind. What am I doing tomorrow? What's my schedule? This, that, and what do I want to do next? And so you have to allow yourself to get into that deep REM sleep so that you can actually really put your body to sleep.
yeah. I too have a diffuser by my bed. I do lavender, which I absolutely love, but
Hmm.
also any sort of LED, any sort of light that winks. For example, on my diffuser, there's a light on it, and I switch it to the light off, but I also tape over that little light that shines a little bit. There's a TV in my room that I never use. It was there way before. I've put a tape on the little light, the red light on it. I have a heater in my room. I put a tape over the red light. And I have a blackout lamp. So my room is completely dark. And then I shut the door. Even though I live by myself, I shut the door,
Hmm.
and I make sure that I'm the kind of person that if I get cold, I can't sleep. So I make sure,
Oh, I'm always cold.
yeah, and so I have to make sure that I'm completely warm, and then I go to sleep. But about an hour or so before bed, I don't do anything that involves electronics, like even my phone or all of that stuff. I put all of that stuff away about an hour and a half before bed, and most often I either read or I watch TV in my living room and then I go straight to bed. My husband always had this thing where he said, the bedroom is for sleeping and doing things lovers do. And that's the motto I've kept. It's for sleeping and doing things that lovers do. It's not
Yeah.
it's not for watching TV. It's
Yeah,
not for
adult things.
it's adult things. It's not for watching TV. It's not for catching up on your phone. It's not for
Yes.
it's not for Googling what does the word exaggerated mean. It's not for any of that stuff. The bedroom is for two things. And even sometimes I take like I do take a cup of tea in there, sometimes at night, but sometimes I would want to go and eat in there when Jeff was alive. And he'd be like, babe, you don't eat in the bedroom. You eat in the living room or the dining room. And I go,
Yeah,
okay,
no,
fine.
I don't allow eating in my bed.
No, so I don't eat in my room either. No, no, my husband taught me that. But no, and I find that provides a good night's sleep for me. So
So I try to do something relaxing before bed. I try to eat like 3 hours at least before bed, and I actually use a heavy blanket. Not a weighted. I don't have a weighted blanket, but I do have a very heavy fur blanket. Faux fur, not real fur, but it's still very heavy.
yeah,
And so I sleep under that, and I use my diffuser. So those are
I,
the things that I use to allow myself to get a good night's sleep.
and the one thing that I do that's relaxing. This is going to sound really quirky, but I love watching slow burn, beautiful scenery shows. For example, Midsummer Murders. It's so slow.
Oh,
It's
that
so
sounds like a
slow.
sleeper.
It's
Midsummer
like
Murders.
I know it's so slow. It's like watching molasses drip. But here's the thing about the show: the scenery is amazing. It's all of these, English countryside and gardens and mansions. And so I look at all of this beauty, and all of a sudden, my whole day is slowly coming down. So I don't watch anything action packed. I don't watch comedy before bed. I don't do any of that. If it's slow burn and beautiful scenery, I'm in. Anything else, count me out.
I think that
Well,
really
I can't seem to stay awake for any show. um, I don't know how many shows I've started watching, and the next time I watch it, I remember the same part that I watched the first time, and I probably make it to the same part.
What do you do, Alicia? What do you do?
Yeah, so for me, I have a diffuser as well, but for me, it's about how I wake up in the morning. So I use a happy light. So that for me, if I start my day like that, the better I'm able to sleep at night. So if I'm waking up at the same time each day, if I'm on that routine, I eat my dinner at the same time, I turn off technology around the same time. I am usually good, but I do wake up very early. I wake up around 4. So I'm that person who feels really
Yeah.
it's easier for me to sleep at night because I started my day early and I don't have as much on my
Yes.
mind because I make sure I'm getting it done throughout the
Yeah.
day. And that
Yeah.
really works
It's
for me.
actually crazy because for the 15 years that I worked in universities,
Mhm.
I um I always woke up at 6 a.m. because I had to be at work at either 8 or 8:30,
Mhm.
and I also had two children that I had to get
Yeah.
together before I went to work. So I always woke up at 6, and all these years later, I still wake up at 6.
Yeah.
It's like my body has just decided, Maria, you wake up at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
So
I always had to commute as well. And I mean, even though my commute is literally from my room down the stairs now, it's the same thing. My brain remembers that that's the time to be up. And it's interesting how our body carries these habits. And we're going to talk about habits in a bit.
absolutely, yes.
But I just wanted to go back to something that Jen said about the fact that she'll watch something that's slow burn. And there's a quote on one of our question cards today that says, if it costs you your peace, it's too expensive. And I'm wondering if you
Absolutely.
could talk about what that means to you in your life.
Yes, and that if it costs you your peace, then it's too expensive, and the it is too expensive. For me, it could be people, it could be
Absolutely.
places, it
Mhm.
could be devices, it could be shows, it could be things, it could be food. whatever that it happens to be, then for
Yeah, it could
me,
be
it's too
reminiscing on the
expensive.
past.
Yeah. I
I
just,
mean, so many
and
things.
anything that cost me my peace, I have let go of. My husband used to say, if it doesn't add quality to our lives, it has to go. And so anything that cost me my peace, I remember I've uninstalled apps for my phones. I have not put, when I've changed my phones, I've not put back certain apps on my phone. Um, I have I have needed a new laptop probably for 10 years. But
Wow.
guess what? I believe it's going to cost me my peace because it's going to take time to get to figure it all out and download it and all that. You know what? I just don't have time for that. But someday I will because I have to start writing. So,
Someday when we're no longer using laptops, when we're now talking to our wrists, Jen will be getting a So
you
I
know.
don't stress myself about technology. That's what Alicia's for. If I have any questions about technology, I just call Alicia
But
or
you know,
text her
some
because
of the
I'm
things that
not.
people,
I mean, it's crazy. Things that I use. I used technology for 15 years. The same technology at my job, and today I couldn't tell you how to do the basic. I
yeah,
mean, in order for me to work in the vice president's office, I had to be in an advanced level of all these things. And now today I can't even do the basics. And
yeah,
that used to stress me, but now I just say to myself, Maria, you're not going back to work, so don't worry about it. Stop stressing yourself about it.
yeah,
It doesn't matter. And people ask me a lot of questions, and I try not to. One of the things that I did that brought me a lot of joy the other day was I took Jennifer's advice. I put together a group chat with a bunch of my girlfriends that lived around the world. My one
nice,
girlfriend lives in Panama, one lives in Italy. You know, from school days, and we had this wonderful conversation where
wonderful.
we were laughing and we were talking about things from the past, and it was so lovely. Like it was just really wonderful. And
Uh,
and I appreciate that suggestion because that was really wonderful. That really touched my heart.
oh, wonderful. I'm so glad you were blessed by that. So glad.
Yes.
And Alicia, what about you? What if it costs you a piece, it's too expensive.
You know what? I find technology as well. So I'm actually doing all of this just like Jen. I've needed a new laptop for a while. My Mac is from 2011. So but that's the thing. I know I can do all the things I need to do, and also notifications. I find I don't want to be, if it's something that is continuously coming up, I tend I tend to mute a lot of things during the day, whether that's conversations or text messages. I know if something's going to distract me or take away from being present in the moment with whoever I'm talking to or whatever I'm working on,
Yeah,
that costs me my peace later. 'Cause going back to that sleep thing, I'm one of those people who prefers to have everything done nice and early, and then I'm not stressing at 8, 9 o'clock at night. So there's little things that I do um, to kind of break some of those
And
habits that we can get stuck in.
sorry. I'm sorry for interrupting. I'm a very organized person. So I try to keep my mind not so stressed about things being exactly where they're meant to be. Because I mean, when you're raising two girls, young girls, you have to be organized. They have this class, they have this, they have that. You have to help them with their homework. You have to do this. Why does it look like you're drinking beer, Alicia?
It's water.
No,
It's
I'm
water,
joking.
everyone. It is water.
Um, no, I think that my biggest piece is the people that are no longer in my life. There's a saying that we've all heard: people are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And the lifetime people that are still in my life today, I appreciate them. The people that were here for a season are no longer here. This is a different season. And so I try not to focus on, who is still here, who left, because I believe that truly the people that are meant to be in my life are in my life.
Yeah.
And so I don't worry about, the other 30 people that were my quote unquote friends, that are no longer here because it's inconvenient for them. And that's
Yeah.
okay with me now.
And that's,
I think for the first 2 years, I was very hurt by that. But I remember having a conversation with there's a guy named Joseph in the young stroke survivors group, and he was talking about how he used to have his friends over every Friday, and how they no longer came over anymore. And you know, um, I was so brokenhearted when I heard him say that. But after a while, I realized that the people who are the people who are sincere, the people who really truly care about you, the people
yeah.
who really truly know who you are and
Yeah.
like you as a person, are the people that will still be there for you, no matter what happens.
You're absolutely right, Maria. I think in addition to that, I want to come back to something you said earlier, Alicia, which you talked about notifications. And so on my phone, they're all turned off. They're all turned off. Even the little badge is turned off. The only badge that's left on is my text messaging badge. And all it does, it gives me a little thing. There's a little badge that comes up that says you have new messages. Everything else is turned off day and night. And the reason for that is this. I figure if there's something, if I believe there's a God, and if I believe that that God is directing my life, then when I need to look at Facebook messaging, when I need to look at my text messaging, when I need to look at Facebook, when I need to look at my calendar, all of these things that I have on my phone, when I need to look at them, he will say, hey, it's time to look. And I'm telling you, 10 times out of 10, I have never been led astray. I've never looked at the message too late. I've never gotten an emergency message too late. I've never picked up a phone message too late. I've never looked at anything too late, because I trust that if God wants me to look at it, he's going to let me look at it. I've never missed an important or
Yes, we
urgent
do
call.
have this thing called intuition, and
Yes.
that is God speaking to us through ourselves,
Yeah.
and that's intuition to me.
Yeah,
And so
absolutely.
for me, there have been so many things in my life where if I didn't follow that voice telling me,
Hmm.
I wouldn't know certain things.
Yeah.
And so I completely understand you, Jen.
Yeah. So I don't have anything. I've never had them turned on. I don't turn them on. When I change phones and they start popping up, I start deleting and muting them all. And because I find, Alicia, like you say, these notifications, it prevents you from doing what? Being in the moment. Yeah. Already. I think we've exhausted that one, Alicia. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm absolutely with you. I follow the same kind of guideline, and my intuition is if it's an emergency, someone will call me,
Yeah.
and that's on, and we'll
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, why would you text somebody in an emergency? That kind of makes no sense.
it
Yeah.
really doesn't.
you
And
know?
I trust human common sense as well, and that
Yes.
instilled in a lot of people. I
Yeah.
really want to go back to the habit thing and ways we think people can break a habit that they're stuck in. So whether that's something that's damaging their life or damaging their relationship, what are some of your tips for breaking that habit?
There are some things you just have to let go of. Like, I had to let go of watching CNN. I had to let go of watching the news. I had to let go of listening to the COVID updates every day. I had to just let go of it, and so I just don't do it. That's all. But I am that person. I am that person that I can just stop. Like, I don't need um, to try 10 times. There are people who smoke and do all these different things, and that's fine for them. And they say they're addicted, and okay, they're addicted, whatever. But I am not. I don't have an addicted personality. I am very, like I said, regimented, very organized. And if I decide that I'm not doing something anymore, I am just not doing it. And I'm not going to, I don't have to say, oh, tomorrow I'm only going to do three. Next day I'm only going to do two. No, I don't have to do that. I can just say no. That's it.
Well, my husband did this fantastic thing. Decades ago, he stopped smoking, and he said he did this thing where he told himself, we're going to stop smoking, and this is what we're going to do. On Monday, you can have 7 cigarettes. On Tuesday, you can have 6. Wednesday, and he said he followed that. And so he said on the Monday, I mean, I'm not recounting the story to be exact because I don't remember the exact details, but I'm going to give you the schematics of how the breaking of the habit worked. And so he had the 7 on the Monday. He found that very difficult to do because in his mind he was breaking a habit, and so he had given himself permission to have 7. And so come Tuesday, he'd also given himself permission to have 6. And so he found that it was very difficult to have 6 cigarettes because now it had become too much for him.
Yeah, in his
But
mind, he was already thinking, I'm supposed to be weaning myself off of this.
exactly. And so by the time he get to the 1 cigarette a day, now when he get to the 1 a day, it was you can have 1 a day for I don't know, 2 weeks or something. And he said there was days after the 1 a day, there were days he would go out to have this cigarette because it's his time to have his cigarette, and he doesn't want to have it because he's tired of it. He's tired of it. He's had enough.
Yeah,
But
in
so
his
Jeff,
heart, he had already decided he no longer
yeah,
wanted to do this.
and so in breaking the habit of smoking, he just gave up. He just said that was it. He was done smoking. He seriously was done. By the time he passed away, he had not smoked a cigarette in probably 30 years, if not more.
Wow,
But
because I didn't even know that Jeff smoked.
he smoked 30
Well,
years
that's
ago,
obviously
20.
because I met him way after he had finished.
Yeah, and so, but that's what and again, he was younger, and he had to have some sort of determination. But one of the things that I've had to do in breaking habits for myself where it comes to food is and I know this is cliche and people have heard this before. I have a gluten and I have a milk and milk product intolerance, and so but I love bread. I just love bread. So you know what I've had to, and the gluten free is not equal to the regular bread. So you know what I do? I don't buy bread. But you know what happened? And it's been probably about a year, probably close to a year since I've bought bread. But I wanted to treat my kids because tonight I'm gonna drop off some. I can go to one other household, but I can go to in Hamilton. You can't leave your home and you can't mix with other people or whatever. But I bought this stuff to take to my daughter in Beamsville, and I bought these brioche buns that I'm taking to her house tonight.
Lord,
And guess what? I had
I
two.
love brioche.
So what I'm doing is I'm taking all of it to her house after the show, and I'm never buying bread again. And
I'm never buying bread again.
I'm going back to what I did the day before, which is never buying because I can't help myself. So it's a bad habit but the thing about it too
Yeah,
is
you
that
just remove the temptation.
exactly. I don't buy milk and milk products. I don't buy bread because I can't have it. And the other thing, Jeff and I, years and years ago, we went and saw a dietitian for free at the North End Community Center. And we wanted to start losing weight. We said that after we get to 50, we wanted to not be able to, we wanted to not have to struggle with our weight anymore and patterns and habits. We didn't want, we wanted to we wanted to be able to make healthy food choices like that. We didn't want it to be a struggle after the age of 50. And he said the most amazing thing to us, which has been so good, and I've kept that in my arsenal for habit breaking all these years. He said, I'm going to give you guys permission to go out and have dessert. And he goes, but here's the thing, you're not allowed to bring any of it home. And he said, when you entertain and people bring dessert, they're never allowed to leave unless they take what they brought that's left over.
Hey, take your dessert with you.
And so we have lived by that. This household have lived by that. And I have broken the habit of wanting dessert all the time. Because when people come over and they bring dessert, I thank them, I partake in it. And when they're going away, I pack it up and I hand it to them at the door. And when I go in and I have dessert, I never, ever, ever bring the leftovers home, because guess what? I am not allowed to bring leftover desserts home. So
Well, I wish that I could be so. I am not that person.
listen, girl,
Over
I
the
was never that
holidays,
person either.
my gosh, I found I was a friend of mine who makes my most of my jewelry. She brought me this Jamaican rum cake, and it was
Oh.
so good. Oh my god! I told her just bring me a small one, and I thought, okay, well, I'll have a piece or whatever, because, it's just me. And I ate the whole cake.
Maria, I have to tell you, I probably would have eaten the whole cake over a week myself too. I
That
probably would have eaten the whole cake myself over a
was
week.
the best. It was from Linstead Market. I'm giving them a shout out because that was the best black cake that I've ever eaten.
Oh gosh.
So good, yes.
I bet. I bet. Alicia, what about you? What about breaking habits with you?
So I'm similar to you as well, like you as well, Jen. So I'm gluten free and vegan. So something that I do actually is I don't restrict anything. So I know it's there, because what I find is when I restrict things, or when humans restrict things in general, otherwise it becomes forbidden. And when things are forbidden, we crave them. We're
That's when you
still the
want it,
little
yes.
toddler thing when our parents say, no, you can't do that, wanting to do that. So I leave
Absolutely.
everything open. So if there is a gluten-free or vegan version of something that I want, then I go for it. I'm like, okay, you know what? I think I want this today, but I'm very much similar to Jen. If I do get something in, or I'm typically not bringing it back with me, because I don't know, I've always felt really uncomfortable with bringing food home. But if people come, I'm always like, here, take it. Like, I bought it for this occasion, or, you know, I don't live alone right now. So, I mean, I'll get other people in my household to try it. And it's actually a really great way to not do things in secret, to get other people involved, especially I think when it comes to food, to
Mhm.
making it a community thing versus a shame thing.
Well,
Yeah.
my best friend has been staying with me since last
Yeah.
early in the year. And he is an amazing, amazing cook because his father is a chef. And I keep telling him, you're trying to fatten me up. Because he's such a good cook. He's always cooking these wonderful meals, and he's one of those people that likes to make the plate pretty. So he makes the plate pretty, and then he got the food on there, and he's making, So I have to sometimes say, can you just put my food in a bowl? Because if he puts it in a plate, I'm gonna eat the whole plate. Yeah,
Smaller servings,
put my food in a bowl.
a smaller container.
Okay.
Um,
All righty.
so we do have two questions left, and we have one more quote and then one more that's a little bit more personal, that's going to allow everyone to get to know a little bit more about you guys and your journey. And this quote is actually live for today, not tomorrow. And maybe just in a sentence or so, if you could summarize what that means to you and your journey and in your experience.
Yeah. Live for today, not tomorrow. Hmm.
Well, I think that you know, my lesson was, like, so I shouldn't say because I hate that, but anyway, um, my lesson was not putting off until tomorrow what I could do today. The day that I had the stroke, I was at work, but and I went to the doctor, and he told me to go home and get some rest because I was having a tension headache. And I had been planning for this meeting that we're supposed to be having on campus on the Friday, and I was staying at work late, and I was taking Advil because I was having these headaches, and I just was just doing all these things, and then I never even made it to the meeting on Friday after I had sacrificed my whole week to make sure that I could be at the meeting on Friday. But what I do now, I try to enjoy life in a different way. I try to be more relaxed. The biggest change in my life is not having my children with me anymore, being on my own for the first time in 30 years. I've never lived on my own because I had my daughter when I was 20, and now I'm 51, and I'm living on my own. And so, I now try to enjoy the little things that I can enjoy, and I don't have to worry about anybody else. And I try not to focus on, all the other things going on, whether it be in my family, like my extended family, or otherwise. I mean, I think about it. I try to stay in touch, but I do not focus on what's happening in their lives because I cannot take other things on right now.
Yeah.
So I just kind of just focus on what I need to do and whatever else is going on within my family, with my children. I don't see them. My one daughter lives in Windsor. My other daughter lives in Toronto. I don't see them. They don't visit. I don't really communicate with them very much. They basically my younger daughter had anxiety because she was the one that found me on the floor after the stroke. My eldest daughter has bipolar disorder, and so seeing me not as like superwoman like she's always seen me makes her very depressed. And you know, so I spent a lot of time in the first couple of years worrying about them, keep advising them to go talk to somebody, and all of these things. But now I just say to myself, Maria, they're grown. What were you doing when you were 23, Maria? What were you doing when you were 31? You weren't calling your mother every day. You weren't doing all these things. You were living your life. So let them live their life, and I'm sure if anything I need to know, they will contact me. And so I just try to just live my life for every day doing what I want to do. And I try not to stress and worry about other people's stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, you're doing the right thing. Um, for me, I think live for today and not for tomorrow. And what does that mean in my journey? Um, I always say to people, my calendar is full, but everything is tentative, which means therefore that I can have plans on my calendar, but if my spirit says, you know what, I don't want to do this today. I honor my spirit. And so I have had to text friends and say, I know we were set up to have coffee together or whatever, but you know what? I've woke up this morning and I am just really sorry. I'm going to have to cancel with you. And I
Well,
don't
you
really
now
have a
have people
reason.
in your life who are willing
I'm
to
not sick.
accept that.
I'm not sick. I don't have, I don't have an emergency. But you know what? Can I please ask for your forgiveness? And would you reschedule with me? And
Yes.
I mean, a typical example of doing that is just being authentic to yourself. I did that with a friend once years ago, and she messaged me and she says, Jen, thank you so much for your text. The laundry is walking out the door, but I didn't want to cancel with you because we made this appointment months ago, and it's so hard for you and I to get together. We have such varying schedules, and we very rarely get to see each other. And I was not going to miss out on seeing you. I was going to take that with both hands because that's all you can give to me. And she said, but thank you so much for saying that, because the laundry is walking out the door. Everybody had the flu last week and blah, blah, blah. And so these are the kind of text messages I send out. These are the kind of phone calls I make. I honor my spirit every single day. And if there's something that's on my calendar that I wake up in the morning and I go, I don't want to do that. Then I don't do it. But 10 times out of 10, the day takes a completely different turn that brings me complete joy. And it could
That's
simply
called
be,
life.
yeah, and it could simply be paying bills that I've been putting off. It could be simply be taking a walk that I've been in an area of Hamilton that I've been putting off. It could simply be going for a hike that I've been putting off. And so these days have taken, completely different turns. And so, what that means is, for example, yesterday I woke up and I had plans to do a few things. But then I checked in with myself, and myself said, well, we don't want to do that. We want to go
Okay,
for a
she's talking
walk.
in third person. Is that, are we losing her?
I know. And self said, hey, we want to go for a walk. We want to get a chocolate, and then we want to go for McDonald's. And I go, McDonald's? You want to go for McDonald's? Really? You McDonald's today?
I can't
And
tell you the
self,
last time I ate McDonald's. My goodness.
no, and self said, yes, we want McDonald's, and we want the, what is that? Egg McMuffin? And so listen to this story. I said, and Selfs also said they want fries, and I said we will not have fries. And so I took one of the coupon books. I walked from the North End to Dundurn, got to McDonald's, and this is what happened. I said to her, here's my coupon. I'd like the Egg McMuffin deal. She gave it to me. I went to the park bench and sat down, opened up my bag. Now it came with a hash brown. Guess what? Instead of the hash brown, guess what she put in the bag? Take a wild
Fries.
guess. Fries. So,
So did you
you
eat the
know,
fries or did you omit the fries?
no, pardon me. Oh, I ate them because Self wanted fries, and I told Self, "You are not having fries." But the universe or God said, "No, you want fries. You're just denying yourself fries. We're taking the hash browns out and we're putting fries in." Now, the thing about it is that the meal does not come with fries. It comes with hash browns.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, but so, in my journey, you asked about, in the journey, like, what does that mean to live for today? I think, for me, when it comes to living for today after a stroke is, and I can pin this down to rehab, because in the past, I've woken up and said, today I'm doing this workout and I'm doing this rehab, but I've had to be gentle with myself and go, do you have enough energy for that? And some days I didn't have enough energy for it, but some days my heart was not into it. And so I had to be gentle and kind to myself and go, what is it that you want to do instead today? And I had to give myself permission to do that instead of what I had planned for rehab. And so where it comes to stroke or brain damage and rehabilitation, and just setting aside that expectation of living for tomorrow, today, and wanting to be well quickly rather than in the process, I've had to check in with myself and go, what can you do today? And sometimes it's far different from what the plans are.
Well, what I decided to do over the holidays was I wanted to sleep in. I never get to sleep in because the um, the support worker comes at 9 o'clock, and when they get here, they're rushing you, rushing you, rushing you to get, because they're here for an hour, right? So they're rushing you, and so I decided that for 5 days I was going to cancel them, and so I would just wake up whenever I woke up, go and take my shower because I can't do it on my own. So I go and take my shower, get dressed, and just relax. I just needed those days where I
Good.
was not on a schedule.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. Good for you. What about you, Alicia?
Yeah, so I'm thinking kind of about my own journey and living. I'm actually think so I have a variance in my ulna. So basically my scaphoid and my wrist can pop in and out really, really easily. So sometimes I'm in a lot of pain. And for me, there's things I want to do. I want to send emails, I might need to write, I might need to do this, X, Y, Z. And there's things that some days I'm like, I just honor it. I'm like, you know what? Today is the day where I put my wrist brace on. I don't cook dinner. I don't do any typing. I do like lower level activities that I might go do that thing where I go for a walk and pick something up at the grocery store. Or before, it might have been a day where I took some time off and pre-COVID and went to see my friends or d- sat back a little bit. Because I think when we're doing things, I know why I've been typing a lot. I've been writing a lot when my scaphoid pops out and I don't really get much warning. So I
Yeah.
really try and honor that, okay, I'm in pain. Now it's time to sit back. And I think, because when I kind of know I'm getting there, I really try to use all the colors in the crayon box. I try to get like some of that creative energy out and up because that's what I can do. I can explore, I can be creative when I'm not being confined to some of that dexterity that I can't use.
Yeah.
So I always do it in that way. Um, the last question I think is really, really lovely. And it's just to say a few words in regard to thanking someone who's been important in your life and who has helped you along your journey. I think we'll end on that note.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I can honestly say that you two have been such a meaningful in my life,
Yeah.
um, and have really helped me along this journey. Um, Jen and Jeff, when he was alive, were really such a support system. And I
Mhm.
may not have even they may not have even known that they were my support system because I didn't really speak to them about it in that way. I just I wanted to be when I wanted to be around them and to share my things with them. I would invite them to come and do whatever. But I truly am very very grateful for the people that are currently in my life. um, I have Paul in my life now, and Paul is my friend, and he's like my best friend. He's just like we are comfortable with each other. He doesn't have any expectation of me. He says whatever you want. He doesn't call me Maria. He calls me Fisher. Like, whatever you want, Fisher.
I love it.
So he will cook. He does the groceries. Like like I feel so blessed, and I mean, and we say to each other all the time, like, how did we get here? Because like we have been friends for 30 years almost.
Wow.
Like how in the world did we end up being stuck not stuck, but being in COVID quarantine together?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, after all these years of friendship, I mean, it's just like because how this started, he just called me one day and said, I just want to come by and talk to you. And I said, okay. And so he drove from Whitby, and he drove to my home, and and then he said, what are you doing for Thanksgiving next week? And I said, nothing. I have no plans. We're in pandemic. And he said, well, I'm gonna cook for you. And he's been here ever since.
What a blessing. What an absolute blessing. What an absolute.
And just like, we say to each other all the time, like, how did we get here? Like, this is just, it's like a Deborah Cox song, like, how did we get here? Like, it's just weird. Like, I mean, and we are only friends. Like, we are not intimate partners. We are only friends,
Yeah.
but we are genuinely friends with each other. Like, we
Yeah.
dance in the house. I play my hip hop. He sometimes says, Maria, enough of the hip hop. Can I hear some reggae? And I go, whatever. Okay, sure, go ahead. Like, we're just genuine friends, and we allow each other just to be who we are. And we are, and even though we've known each other for almost 30 years, we're still getting to know one another.
What's
Because,
his name? Did you say his name is Paul?
pardon me?
What did you say his name is Paul?
Yes. And
You
the thing
tell.
is, there's a saying in the Caribbean that says, "To know me and live with me is two different things."
Yes.
you
Yep.
know,
That's.
and the thing is, it's absolutely correct because I would have never known that Paul was a chef, like was a good cook. How
Well,
would I
listen,
know that? I mean,
Maria, you tell Paul that when the restrictions lifts, I'm coming over for some of his cooking, and tell him I've invited myself over.
the funny thing is, yesterday my massage therapist said the same thing.
I'm inviting myself over
I
for
said to
dinner.
him, I said, I better stop talking about your cooking because we're gonna have a crowd of people.
That's too.
But no, he's such a blessing. I mean, such a blessing.
That's all.
I cannot even thank God enough for bringing him here at this time.
Amen. Amen. Well, I think for me, what I want to say to the people that are in my life and the people that I spend time with on a daily basis, and I do spend time with people on a daily basis,
Hmm.
whether it be on text message, whether it be on Facebook messaging, whether it be in person like Zoom with you gals, you beautiful girls, whether it be my children, um, friends from across the world, your family from whatever I do with you on a daily basis. I wanted you to know that you have blessed me, and I didn't choose to do something else. I chose to spend that time with you because I knew that you were going to bless me in a way that I didn't even anticipate. So I want to say thank you to all those people, and I want to say thank you to you too, because every time we're together, you guys bless me. You have no idea how full I walk away when I'm on the phone with friends and in Zoom with friends. They all bless me, and people don't get how full how they top up my cup. Every single day I spend with them, they top up my cup. And so it comes back to what we said earlier in the show, which we talked about, the things that take our peace away. And if it's too expensive, if I am not spending time with you, it's simply because it's not your time yet. It's
Yes.
not your time for me to spend time with you, and it's not your season to spend time with me yet.
Hmm.
And so I take my seasons very, very seriously. So for all of those people that I spend time with on a daily basis, you fill up my cup, and thank you.
Yes. And I mean, if I was by myself laughing, people would think I was crazy. But at least when I'm with you guys, I get to laugh, and I
Yeah.
get to be silly, and I get to be myself,
Yeah.
and I really appreciate that. And
No,
I
thank
know sometimes I'm like probably laughing at the wrong time, but that's a stroke. That's a stroke thing, and
you.
I'm not. And I take responsibility for it because I know that like people. There's a question people always ask on the stroke questions. They always say, "Do you find yourself crying a lot?" And there's always somebody that says, "No, but I laugh at inappropriate times." And I may laugh at inappropriate times, but you
Yeah.
know what? I'm laughing.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, I agree.
feeling some joy in my spirit, and
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
is what I need. Because I live alone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Paul is gone all day. He's gone to work. He's living his life. So I'm not with him all day. Only during the holidays he had a couple days off.
Yeah.
But I just enjoy the people who choose to be in my life.
Hmm.
And
Good
that's what I
job.
did.
Good job. Good job. And you, Alicia, what about you?
You know what? I think for me, everyone I have in my life is such a conscious choice. And that even involves the people who I work with. And, I have so much. I can even say the things that I'm doing that I'm just like, before I used to remember dreading that it was a colleague's birthday. And, now I have a colleague who's turning 60 tomorrow and we're doing a Zoom party. And I am way more excited about that relationship that we have than colleagues that I worked with for 2, 3 years. And like the
Mm.
way I feel about Maria and Chen and, a lot of my other
Well, can
clients
I just
that
say
are,
one thing?
yeah,
Sorry for interrupting.
that's
Um,
okay.
Prior to having the stroke, I did not know anybody with all these illnesses.
Yeah.
I didn't know anybody with MS that I knew of. I did
Mm,
not know anybody with an aneurysm that I knew of.
yeah.
But since, I mean, people come into God brings people into my life now And
Yeah.
then, I mean, look how long I knew Alicia until we interviewed her. I didn't even know that she had an illness.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, my last virtual assistant, I had just posted an ad and she had responded, and she ended up having had a car accident, having a traumatic brain injury, and a spinal fusion. I mean,
Hmm.
it's like, God is saying to me, Maria, people live through things and they go on.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
it's just like he's just showing me. There's so many people. I mean, I've known Martin forever, and I don't know if he would have ever told me he had a brain aneurysm if I had not told him that I had a stroke.
Yeah. Yeah. I see
You
your
know,
point. Yeah.
but this is what's happening: is people are coming forward and saying, this is
yeah.
what happened to me. I
Yeah.
mean, Michelle, Angie, all the people that have MS, and Monique. I mean, I did not know they had MS. They would have
Yeah.
never discussed that with me. But when you're open and you have this, there's something that just draws people to you. It just
Mhm.
pulls people
Yeah.
towards you. It's like your spirit is just pulling people towards you, um, to inform, to teach, to learn from.
Yeah.
And I feel, Jen, I've learned so much from you.
Same here, girl. I've learned so much from you both.
Michelle, um, you know, um, you know, because people think, I mean, you don't know who knows about a stroke until you have a stroke.
That's true. That's true.
I didn't
You're
even know I knew that LTD was coming out of my paycheck every month, but I did not even know what it was for.
yeah.
But now I'm on
Yeah.
long-term disability,
Yeah.
and I didn't understand, when I saw long-term disability coming out of my paycheck, that I would one day need this money that they were taking out of my paycheck.
Yeah.
Yeah. One day soon, eh, girl? Yeah. One day soon that you didn't understand it. One day soon you'll need it. I didn't understand that either. But Alicia, you were saying that, the people that you were talking about your friend that has a 60th birthday that you're more
Yeah.
excited about tomorrow. To continue on. Tell us about that.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, these conscious relationships that you make because
Yeah.
the people that you choose to be around. So I'm at the point where I get to choose my colleagues, I get to choose my clients. I really choose who I keep in my life, who makes me feel safe, who makes me feel like I belong,
Yes.
who we can accept one another. And that's why you've seen so many people on the show who I've either become friends with because of this online pandemic situation, and people I've been friends with for a while. Because I'll just say this for the audience, not everyone knows that I do a lot of work behind the scenes, talking to some of the guests beforehand and,
Hmm.
getting to know them. And it's been
And the
so interesting.
admiration,
Yeah, it's been
the
so interesting to
admiration that I
become
have.
friends
I
with
mean,
them.
I admire you guys so much. I admire our guests so much for
I do.
the challenges they go through and how they get through them. There's a certain admiration, and it makes you feel like you can do anything.
Yeah.
If they can
Yeah.
do it, you can do it too. You can keep pushing forward. And I don't have a timeline. I maybe, I will maybe, I don't know when I'll be able to, walk fully without my cane, without feeling pain in my IT band, my hip. Um, I don't know, but I know that each day I can enjoy each day, and one day I may not have the pain.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, for Alicia, definitely finish your story, darling. You were saying.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that's pretty much it. I think, going off what Maria said, I think our relationships around us and what we choose to do and, learning from one another, it just makes us feel infinite. And I think that's the important thing that I would like people to remember when they're choosing who they work with or they're deciding, you know, what friends are going to be there for them or who they would call in an emergency. Think of
Hmm.
the people that make you feel that you're safe and secure and that challenge you and accept you. And I think that's what I'm learning and really what all my relationships in my life. And, I just feel really lucky and really blessed, honestly.
Yes.
And both of you are
And
a part of
I'm sorry for interrupting again, but
that.
something that
Okay.
I always say to my daughters. I always
Hmm.
say, if you do what you love, you'll never feel like you worked a day. And
Yeah.
I also tell them, well, I just forgot my chain of thought.
Well, the light has gone out in my area. I was using the outside light to illuminate myself, and now it's the clouds have come over. So I'm in the darkness.
Oh, is it a
But
power or?
no, I didn't put any of the lights on because I have these huge bay windows, and the light from outside always illuminate me.
Oh,
So
okay.
so now the light
It's
is
dark.
gone. So I'm in darkness.
Okay. That'd
But
be okay.
are we practically out of time?
Yeah, so we've been out of time for a while, but I think
And I said, this is
it's
going to
all
be a
good. I think we're talking about inspiration and wellness tips. It's so important we get the right words out there. If you like this episode, please give us a like, subscribe, and that lets me know that we should bring out these cards again. A special thanks to Gabby T, who was on one of our other episodes, for purchasing these cards. It's great to have friends that know you and
Yeah.
know what your
Mhm.
workplace is and what matters to you in your life. So yeah. Does anyone have any closing anyone would like to make?
Mm.
Wow.
No, I want to say thank you to our viewers and thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
We look forward to chatting with you every week and sharing our hearts with you. And thank you for letting us share our hearts. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
And I look forward to seeing you every week.